Hey, welcome to Real WW Talk. It is Erin.
I'm Candice.
And I'm Rikki.
Ladies, can I just show you, because I just snuck a spoonful before we finished because I wiped it, the bowl clean. This is the Chobani zero sugar milk and cookies yogurt, and it's there's no lactose in it, so I can eat it. Very good.
Erin, I was telling you, they have one in strawberry cheesecake for the zero. It is fantastic. I found it at Wegmans for those who have a Wegmans near you, but they're great. And they're 1 point. 1 point.
So good.
One.
It's a great little snack. I could even have with the milk and cookies. I could even put a cookie in it if I wanted to, or
you can put an Oreo.
Have you guys seen the Catalina Crunch? It's the keto crunch things. Have you tried it?
Yes, my husband's obsessed with them.
Is he?
I have them in peanut butter. They have them in the regular Oreo ones. They're not Oreos.
The chocolate.
The chocolate. Oh yeah.
Is it a brand?
Yeah.
It's a brand, and they look like honey grams. They're shaped.
Talking about yogurt?
No, I'm sorry. I've switched off to yogurt into a crunchy cereal thing. It's not cheap. It's like $9 for a bag. I've seen it at Target.
It's cereal.
It's a cereal.
Catalina Crunch.
And it's a keto. They call it a keto type of a thing. But it's like 3 points or 4 points for a cup of it. So you get quite a bit.
Oh, see, Erin, you missed it too. See, they actually have cookies. That brand.
Oh, so you're talking about different things.
Yeah, you're talking about the cereal's good too, but they have cookies. Like cookies. Like instead of an Oreo, you have these and they're less points. Oh yes. Catalina.
We may need to be changing our topic of what
we're going to say.
Hey, sorry. Conversation.
That's why I was like, oh yeah, I know about those cookies. Dave loves those cookies.
The
cereal's good too.
Okay, wow. I haven't even seen those. I saw the cereal. The cereal looks like honey grams.
Okay.
But they've got all kinds of different flavors, and they're gluten-free. They're dairy-free. They are, I'm trying to think of what they're made out of. They're also nut-free because I can't eat nuts.
Wow.
But I can't remember what they're made out of, and I really should know that aspect.
I actually have it upstairs. So
do you? Run upstairs and go get it real quick.
Get some activity points.
No, please. Go, Candice, go. They were really good. So I've been using, they even have little trial bags because I'm like, I don't want to spend $9 on a box of this stuff and not like it. And they had a little trial bag and it was like $1.89. I'm like, okay, well, I've wasted cups of coffee that costed more, right?
And this is at Target?
I saw them at Target. I've seen them at Giant, which is a grocery store in like the Baltimore, Washington area. I've seen them at Safeway.
We had them.
Oh.
They're gone.
They're gone.
They had a cinnamon toast crunch one.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Why is this not in my life already?
So I liked the chocolate ones more than I like the cinnamon toast crunch ones because I'm not a big fan of monk fruit sweetener, erythritol, stevia, that kind of stuff. So I felt like that was more present on the cinnamon toast crunch than the chocolate one. But
we liked it because it was a big bag from Costco.
Oh, you got it
had
Costco?
Them. Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. I'm telling you, that's a whole nother look what we've done.
Okay, well, look, they do look for the snack. I mean, I'm not going to tell you what to do with your life. I'm just going to tell you that they do make snack bags, and I highly recommend. I think it's better to do the snack bag first before the $10 investment in a box of cereal or whatever that you may or may not like. Yeah. But to be honest, I've thrown away the equivalent in baby carrots or more. So I've got to be,
come on,
you know. Okay. Well, before we dive into the topic, anybody else have
any other food finds? No. I'm drinking just iced tea. That's actually my new thing. Unsweetened original green tea.
Okay. So I think this just iced tea is Honest Tea. Do you remember the Honest Tea brand?
I thought they were rebranding.
Well, then that's what it is. It was half off yesterday. So
that's literally filed away in my brain to Google. Is just iced tea the same as Honest Tea?
That's funny.
We'll figure it out before the end of this episode.
Because it's the same names. Okay. That's awesome. I love that. Go ahead, Rikki.
So I've been trying to drink things that are, good for me and like also have a purpose. So I had a coworker when I was sick the other week tell me to drink turmeric, honey,
Mhm.
and ginger. Well, the next best thing that I had at home was I had honey, but I have this turmeric latte mix.
Mm.
So you can mix it with milk and make like a golden
The
milk,
golden latte,
yeah, golden latte.
which I'm
Um,
a little surprised because I don't feel like that's quite up your alley, but
it wasn't the first time I tried it when I had it out. When I had it out in a restaurant or at a coffee shop, it was spicy and it was hard to get down. But for some reason, this blend that I have at home, I think the company is like Numi or something like that. I got it from Whole Foods, and it's a mix of turmeric, and I wish I had the box with me, but it had a couple of other things in it. But the turmeric, I think it has a little ginger turmeric. I have water and honey. It's hot water and honey. You could do it with milk and to sweeten it instead. But it's really good, and I think it's helped as I'm recovered from being sick to really clear up everything that's going on in my nasal passages and all of that. And also, I've heard that turmeric's really good for your stomach. And since I had stomach issues, starting last year, that's why I had purchased it originally. So that's my find. And I'm
yay.
enjoying some right now.
Look
That's
at
great.
us.
Turmeric's also good for joint health as
Oh, is it?
well.
Okay.
Yeah, and arthritis. Well, at least that's my aunt tells me. So, and of course, my aunt's always right.
I was
So,
gonna say, so therefore it's fact. When a family
therefore,
member tells you, I mean, go with it.
right. So, I would say I'm going to pivot into the topic because I think all of these things even play into it. But, a month ago, we sat down and we talked about goals. What are
Mhm.
we, what are we looking for 3 months from now? And so we are 1 month to the day that we actually sat and did these. So why don't we just revisit our goals? I think these are all things that are helping us achieve our goals, but we made some really specific goals or spoke of some specific goals in that podcast. So why don't we just go around the room and revisit what we said and now check in with where we are?
So we have to go in order. So Erin, you have to go first because
Oh, me first.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I said for me, I am preparing for May. May is going to be a crazy month for me because I am going to Israel. I'm leading a trip there for 2 weeks. I come home for about a week and a half, and then I go to Florida and I'm away at a conference. And so I'm going to be running and gunning for essentially like a month. And so it's been really important for me that I treat my foot because of my plantar fasciitis, as well as try and increase my walking endurance with the plantar fasciitis. So, which kind of sounds like those things could be at odds, but the reality is I've got to be able to walk while I'm there. And so I've got to make sure that I'm treating it well now. Somebody in our Real WW Talk Facebook group, which you're welcome to join, just search Real WW Talk on Facebook, had recommended this brand of shoes called OOFOS, OOFOS, which are shoes that are specifically made for plantar fasciitis.
Ah,
They are not inexpensive shoes by any stretch. And I'm talking they're like $150. And however, in the past, I would have gone, nope, not doing that. But what's worth my foot health on this? And they happen to have had a sale. And so I bought a pair of cheetah print, which is not a hardship for me, for like $49.99. So I could try it out. I love these shoes. They have changed my foot life.
That's
My
great.
foot feels so much better with them.
Mhm.
So I'm getting ready to go drop some money on another pair for travel, something that's a little less cheetah print, a little bit more neutral. But those have been super helpful. And then I just got back to walking in the mornings. That's something that I really love doing is going walking early in the morning. And then at the end of the day, shut my laptop and go for a walk. And because of the foot thing, I haven't been able to do that. So I decided to test it out. And so I just started like mid last week, y'all, because also my illness, as I talked about in the last week, last week when we did our episode, like I have been violently ill. And so now I'm finally on the recovery path. So long-winded way of saying I'm sticking to my goals to the best that I can do. And I'm really grateful for our community for making that suggestion because that shoe has really changed my life.
Look at that. The power of community. I'm glad that's working out for
Ta-da.
you.
Yes.
Yeah. So you're
Yeah.
feeling good. You're feeling.
I'm feeling really good. I'll just say that because I also had talked about losing weight and dropping a certain poundage by then. I don't believe that poundage is going to happen by then. And so that feels a little on the disappointing side. But I also have to recognize that I have been sick for an entire month. And when I talk about being sick for this entire month, I've had fevers, I've been puking. Like it's not like, oh, I'm a touch sick and I'm using an excuse not to walk. Like, no, I'm bedbound kind of a thing.
Yeah.
So it feels really good for me to be doing movement. And now I'm just going to keep doing as much movement as I can before we get to the trip. And it is what it is. All my clothes fit me. It's not nothing negative in that. All my clothes fit me. I don't have to go buy any new clothes for the trip. So that's a positive thing. Yeah, I feel good.
Yeah.
Good. That sounds like a win. I mean,
Yeah.
look, you found the shoes.
It's a big
Sounds
win.
like your mindset around rethinking about the weight loss goal, and accepting where things are. That's always the challenge. We said when you make a goal for poundage, you have to be able to, life happens.
Yep.
And you have to be able to adapt with what life throws
Yep.
your way. So
I will say I did lose 3 pounds thanks to the stomach bug. And honestly, as I was clinging to the porcelain bowl, I legit thought in my head, this had better be worth 3 pounds.
yeah.
It had better be worth 3 pounds. And it was.
Okay.
All right, Candice, who's up next?
Rikki.
All right. Well, so if I recall correctly, my goal was related to walking and activity in preparation for my trip. And I remember another community shout out, Kathy Walsh, commented on our YouTube page and said, she grew up in the Bay Area. And yes, there's hills, but it's not everywhere, and just enjoy the time. And that really helped me to just, before going, be in the mindset of, I'm going to enjoy this trip. I'm going to do what I can. I'm not going to push myself to the point where I feel uncomfortable or unhealthy. I shared last time, I haven't talked about having asthma a lot because I haven't felt like it impacts me as much in my adult life. But there are circumstances where I do have to be very careful. And I think I've realized that more as an adult. So prior to the trip, I did have not as much of a sickness as you did, Erin, but something that went straight to my lungs and just held on. So that did impact my consistency with activity. I felt like right before that, I had been getting back into the swing of things, going on the bike consistently. And then when it was nice, getting out for a walk.
But you got knocked down like I
Yeah.
got knocked. This cold was the cold from hell.
It was. I think considering like I hadn't had a cold since before COVID too, like my immune system was like, oh, being sick. So I think that was, it did take me out. But I'm back ready to just get back into it, enjoying some nicer weather and just being able to be outside. I think I really can benefit from that. And I really, being outside and feeling the sunshine, especially after a long day's work, it's easier for me to do that than do an indoor activity. Even as much as I do love the Peloton, I'm more likely to say, okay, if I'm going to do something after work, I'm going to go for a walk. And I have had success with being consistent with that in the past. So I believe that I'm going to get back on track with the activity, now that that's passed. And I also I haven't shared a lot of weight related things, but I have been down consistently 5 pounds. And I know that's not a lot, but for me, it's the okay, I know, stop it. I know, Candice, give me a look. For me, it's the consistency because yes, we're in April and it's like, that's like a pound a month almost. It's like, oh, whoopee, but for me, it's been up and down.
Take that back.
Yes, I'm
Okay.
all of this. I'm
Rewind.
having trouble. Yeah.
Uh-huh.
I lost 5 pounds.
I lost 5 pounds.
Yes,
I'm down 5 pounds. So, and I've always hesitated to share things because it's like, oh, well, next week I might gain it. And this is the first time in a long time where I've seen the consistent number off. And it may not be 15 or 10 or 20 pounds, but it will be. And it feels good to have that down and not keep going up and down in the numbers on the scale.
But you know what? So what I love hearing, Rikki, is consistency,
Hmm.
right? That's the biggest hurdle, I think, for anybody who's doing anything, whether it is a mindset shift, being consistent in our mindset shift, in food, in weight, in exercise, you name it. Consistency really is the battle, discipline and consistency. And, okay, so 5 pounds and
Hmm.
5 pounds down, consistent in April. That's been a long time since that's happened in a consistent place for you.
Hmm.
And gosh, okay, so that's 4 months, right? And so by the end of the year, even if you just stay in this consistent place,
Hmm.
that's 15 pounds,
Hmm.
right?
I'll
I
take
mean,
it.
yeah, that's a positive. I certainly wouldn't reject that.
Right.
And I also think what I heard that I really loved is coming out of sickness, it makes you appreciate like being able to move and saying,
Hmm.
I actually am looking forward to getting outside. And it doesn't have
Hmm.
to just be the Peloton bike. I can go out, and sometimes going through a rough time with our health makes you appreciate more the fact that you can do it. And
Hmm.
I thought that was really great to hear you say, like, now that I can breathe a little bit better, I can do those things that I want to do it, because sometimes that's something to get to. Sometimes you don't really recognize how much you appreciate that until you can't do it for a
Yeah,
consistent period of time.
Let me tell
exactly.
you, Rikki, I think you and I had a pretty similar cold. Like,
Hmm.
I feel like I had an elephant sitting on my face. I could
Hmm.
not breathe, and that's
Yeah.
all I was focused on was, how can I get oxygen?
Hmm.
So, I
Yeah.
mean, I can't imagine doing it with asthma. I don't have
Mhm.
asthma, and I was, like, having mini panics in my head of something needs to change.
Yeah.
Which, side note, if you ever get into that place, try ice on your face, because
Oh.
it's the inflammation in the nose that is causing that congestion. It's actually not the congestion, but
Hmm.
the swelling and the inflammation that I discovered. So ice up on the bridge of your nose, and then drink something ice cold, or put an ice cube
Ooh.
up on the roof of your mouth so you hit it from both ends. The internet is a great source of information.
I feel like you have to do the NBC thing with the star that says, "The more you
The more
know."
you know. Do, do, do.
That's good to know. Prayerfully, I never have to use it.
I
I'm good
hope
to know.
Mhm.
not, but now that thing is filed away, because I tried I am ordering things on Amazon to make my
Mhm.
life better. I even got one of those nasal irrigator things. I was like,
Yeah.
I swore I would never do another neti pot, and I'm like, "That's what I get for swearing I'd never do another neti pot."
It's like, yeah, I bet you will.
All right, Candice. Candice.
My goal, I had 2. One was I wanted to do honest tracking. I talked about how that had been very beneficial for me, and I feel like I have done that most of the time, more often than not. It hasn't been 100%. That's me being 100%
And that's
honest.
what you said the last time. If I remind you that the goal was not perfection,
Right.
it was more often than not.
And that's what I did.
Mhm.
I found that I still sometimes had struggled with what someone said it in one of the meetings that I was on, one of the virtual meetings, with honest tracking the big things that will put you out of your points. It's like there's a moment of truth that you have when it's like, this thing that I'm about to put into my tracker is going to put me into the negative. Am I going to be honest or am I not? And you think that somehow there's gonna be some judgment. I feel like there's gonna be some Weight Watchers gnome or something that's gonna, like, jump out and be like, like, you went over your points. It never happens. But I've had to be consistent and honest, like, "Look, you did it, put it in." And it hasn't been a lot, but it's something that I've noticed to be a pattern, that when I have an opportunity to be honest in a moment that's gonna take me into the negative and I have to see a negative number, that it's a struggle to do. So
Mhm.
I've had to reframe it and say that the point of honest tracking is not necessarily that you're always going to be within the points. It's to be honest with yourself and to
Yeah.
be accountable about your choices and to be consistent. That word that we love, that consistent word.
And I think it shows you patterns too, like if you see that, like, oh, Saturday nights, I tend to have salty foods, or Sunday mornings, I tend to go to brunch, or whatever it is, it can inform your future decisions as well.
Absolutely. And that's something that I was dealing with is that, but I also had the goal of doing my Peloton. And there was a series that I was doing that was called Build Your Power Zones. I was doing power zone training and I completed that. And I did not only, and I think we talked about that, I did better than I had done even before chemo.
That's
Um,
amazing.
Awesome.
so the consistency of doing the training gave me something to focus on, like that was a normal thing. And I was really excited about that. So I feel like I did well.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So, okay, so now as we're looking back over the past month and just kind of reevaluating, Rikki and I had little bits of a wash for the both of us because of being stricken with illnesses. Are there, now looking ahead at the month to come and the following month, because we kind of based it on like a 3-month plan, just to kind of, I think that's, very doable for us to be able to look at that 3 months. So we're coming up.
Mhm.
Now we're starting month 2. Are there things that you feel like you want to tweak? Are there some things you want to add? Are there some adjustments that you want to make to your goal?
For me, it's really been tough for me because I think I've expressed I am been put into this like chemical menopause state for post cancer. I'm in this state for like 5 years, which might take me there like actually later. But it's been really, really tough to not be able to see the results as quickly as I had in the past. And we've talked about that and I've had to reframe. So I've really been trying to focus on goals that are not necessarily weight numbers because when I put in a lot of effort and then the scale doesn't budge all the time, that can be very frustrating. But I find myself very proud when I make a goal like I did with the Peloton. That really doesn't have anything to do with the weight, but it's something that can help me towards the goal. So, I want to go back to a goal, which is really weird that we talked about. I want to say it feels weird to say a few years ago, like we've been doing that for this long. But I want to make sure that I'm present in memories and being intentional about documenting in pictures and putting myself out there more. Because sometimes when you don't feel great about how you're looking and just the way that you're like, I just don't want to be. Remember, I was talking about I had my son. I didn't want to be in pictures during the summer. And we're coming into like warm season and all of that. So I really want to be intentional about being present in pictures, being present in memories with my family, but also about moving more in the mornings. Like, because I'm really finding that starting my day off with movement in any form, not just the bike or even just a walk, because I didn't share this. I forgot to tell you guys. I took the plunge, guys. I resigned from my job and I am now officially stay-at-home mama with my little guy and doing some other things, like, some other exciting things I'm trying to build on the side. But the biggest thing is that I'm home with my son. And I've never, ever been in this, like, it's a big blessing for me. And I understand that not everybody gets to do it. So this opportunity presented itself and I took it. And for someone who hates change, that was like major that I did that. So it's been about a few weeks now that I've been home with him. And so that gives me flexibility to kind of get out and to do things outside and to have a more of a flow to my day. So I want to capitalize on that.
Yeah.
Build memories and move.
I love that for you because you won such a, gosh, Candice, it's such a big deal because you're the author of the change, right? Like you are the one who said, okay, I'm going to do this. Obviously you and David did it together, but it's still taking that leap. You were the one making that decision when so many crazy things have been happening to you that haven't been your choice. This is a change that is your choice. And the really great thing about that, even where you are right now, is you get to choose how you want to show up for the day. All of us get to do that, but you're literally getting now to choose the schedule. What
Yeah.
do I want? What does Candice's day look like today? You get to set the tone for the day. You get to decide when we're going to go for a walk, when you and Isaiah do your things together. And I'm so excited for you that you get that power of choice.
Thank you. And for people who, it's a weird place to be, because sometimes when you do have that power, it almost, it's what we've talked about, the responsibility. It's like, well, if you don't get things done, that's because you didn't choose to effectively spend your time. So I have to remember that it's a positive and not put too much pressure on myself, because I'm type A. I want to go there like, okay, I have to have a regimented, I mean, I have to make sure that I'm taking him to the playground, but he can't go to that one because he also has to go to the library because he needs some education. But then also I need to walk. And then also I need to make dinner. It's like, breathe. This is a good thing. You're gonna take a step at a time. You don't have to have all the answers, and you're doing great.
Yes.
I accept that. And that's a big thing for me, to accept the good of it, because I tend to trend negative about things.
I just even love hearing you say those words to yourself, that you're doing great right now, because I know so many women who it won't even come up in their mind to be able to say that, and to even have you as a woman, as a mom, say, I'm taking a deep breath and I'm reminding myself that I'm doing a good job right now.
And I think that shows how much you know yourself, Candice, too, because you know how you can get sucked into that perfectionism. And you're saying, before you get to that moment where you're like, I'm going to worry about every little thing. And did I do everything? And did I check every box? You're saying, I'm going to give myself some slack and say, yeah, I can have a to-do list, but I don't have to say that everything's perfect every single day.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And thank you all for allowing me the time to talk about it, because that was a big thing. I mean, that was major to be able to do that change. And, we've shared about that. All of us have talked about change, but this was like the ultimate, because usually you don't make a change when you don't have something to go to next. And that's what I was thinking. I was like, but I'm leaving the job and I don't have the other job, and you're not supposed to do that. And you just beat cancer. And no, we're going to focus on the opportunities that are here.
Right. And I would even say that you actually did go to something next.
I did.
You did. And I want to also just take that away out of, like, I'm not going, like, no, you did go to something next, because raising a child is no joke. That's not a tiny thing. So
And he's a little boss. Like I immediately got another boss. Like he looked at me like, hey, let's talk about it. I was like, oh, okay, let's do it.
We've had lunch with Isaiah. We know who runs the show.
We do.
They were so great. It was great to have. They were like, we got him. You go get your drink, because he's freaking out. That's all right. He pooped. All right. Will you go in the bathroom with him while we do this thing? I was like, yeah.
Like, we got it. That kid had, was it Flower
Flower
Child?
Child,
yes.
It's in the Rockville area. It's a great place. If you're in the area, go check it out. But, like, he had steak and potatoes. Like, this is their kids meal. Like, man, when we grew up, kids meals were like chicken nuggets and French fries.
Right.
This
As
was
he demanded his oat milk, his organic oat milk afterwards. Like, give me my milk.
Right? It's amazing. I love him. So, okay. So for you right now, it is continuing with those things, and also the newness of, what does new life at home look like? And you're now being able to establish those patterns for yourself, establish the routines.
Yeah. And what about you guys? Like, what are you thinking about for the next few months, the next 3 months for yourselves?
For me, I want to continue what I have been doing and get back to the consistent workouts again, walking as much as possible, enjoying being outside as the weather gets warm, before it get like that perfect time, before it gets too hot. Just enjoy being outside. And I want to be more intentional about cooking at home, not just eating at home, but cooking at home. Because I can get into a habit of like, okay, I'm eating at home. I got these frozen meals. Or pre-prepared foods. And there's nothing wrong with that. but I am trying to watch my sodium, and a lot of the frozen foods are just ridiculous with the sodium. And I do enjoy cooking. I get in my head about, well, if I cook this, I'm going to have to clean up all these dishes and put them away, and my kitchen's going to be a mess, and I'm going to be tired. It's the weekend. I want to relax. I mean, it goes on and on. But at the end of the day, I like cooking, and there's so many cookbooks that I have that I've yet to fully explore, and it really will be beneficial to me to eat the foods that I cook, and versus something that's prepared, and maybe I end up not liking as much, or ends up just having too much sodium or added whatever to it.
Mhm.
So
One of my favorite things to do, and I've been doing this for a long time, where I will have what I call like a meal prep day,
mhm.
and I will get the meal prep boxes either from like a Costco or Sam's Club or Amazon. And I think they even now have them at like Target and Walmart. You can get a
Mhm.
stack of them where they're divided,
Yeah,
and I make my own frozen meals.
that's
So
smart.
that so because that way I'm not locked into eating the same thing day after day, but like I'll have, 2 or 3 different versions of something, and they're locked away in the freezer that I can pull out
I
when I
love
want
that.
to.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's a
that's
And
a
then
great.
great idea.
one of our followers, or maybe 2 weeks back, something like that, maybe 3 weeks, doesn't matter. You can search the group for it. But she name dropped, I forget the name, the person on YouTube, but I know the second person because she's my girl, and that is Lisa from Downshiftology.
Mhm.
Downshiftology. And instead of meal prepping a whole meal and dividing it up, she meal preps items that she mix and matches throughout the week. And so she will meal prep a tray of chicken. She'll meal prep roasted sweet potatoes. She'll meal prep some hummus. She'll meal prep a couple different lettuces. And that way, throughout the week, she will mix and match different things. So you can come up with a whole variety of foods. And that way, you're
Mhm.
not locked into eating it, in one way. So,
Yeah, that's my biggest thing that I hate, is just eating the same thing every day. So I'll definitely look into doing that.
yeah, so good. So good. For me, when it comes to the goal stuff, I'm steady Eddie plugging forward. Just because I'm just going to stay consistent with what I'm doing, because I won't have room to change things up in May, because I won't be here. And so, it's like, I'm sure we'll talk about this as we get a little bit closer to vacation time, but it's the habits that you build today that serve you when you're on vacation, and maybe you can't track the way that you want to, or there's lots of different opportunities, and so you draw upon those foundations of like the 0 point foods, maybe having a quote unquote normal breakfast and a regular lunch, maybe dinner is like your splurge meal or something like that, trying to find the ways to incorporate the fun things in with vacation. So for me, it's just going to be a little helter skelter with travel and my food allergies. And so I'm more focused on the exercise portion and making sure that my foot, more than anything, is able to handle the miles of walking that we're going to be doing. So,
But what I love hearing for all of us in various forms is the consistency statement.
Yeah.
Like I'm loving that because I think that that's the cornerstone of so many of the different things that you want to do, like being consistent about your habits, like you said, to build upon for the future is so key. So
Mhm.
I'm
yeah.
excited for your trips. And one of the things I've always been so proud of for you, Erin, is that when you're thinking about all of your food, I know you've had to with your food sensitivities and food allergies, but being able to be assertive about the
Mhm.
things that you need is something that's always been very inspiring to me, because even though I might not have the food allergy, sometimes there's things that I really want to be able to say that sometimes I don't. And, when you're forced to, that's something that,
Mhm.
we can learn even from when you're not forced to, about the power of that and how people will really adapt to make sure you get what you need.
Yeah,
So
it is. It's just like, okay, this is what I need.
yeah,
Mhm.
There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. This is what I need
Mhm.
to survive.
yeah.
Exactly.
That's the
There's a
only
lot
way
of
I
people
can.
in the group who have said like that little
Mhm.
statement sometimes can be hard. I mean, there's a
Mhm.
joke on TikTok with a guy who's like, I'm allergic to watermelon, but they gave me watermelon and I ate it because I didn't want to hurt their feelings. I mean,
I'm sorry, you've hurt my feelings. I told you that I'm allergic and can potentially die, and you gave it to me, which tells me you're a murderer.
like he didn't mean it. So pleaser.
Right.
Anyway.
But that is, I guess, just your opportunity to say, here's the thing. I think we're also afraid of confrontation. And if we go into it feeling like we're going to be confrontational, that's when we know we probably need to peel back. But literally it's like, hey, we just had a little mix up. I've got this here. Remember, I'm this. So I just need you to replace it with the other thing. And usually people go, oh gosh, I'm really sorry about that.
Yeah.
That's all. It's all you have to do. You don't have to attack anybody.
Right.
We always come from the place. I always come from the place of, hey, we had a little misunderstanding, and let's take it from there.
Because we're all going to need that in all the
Yeah.
changes that we're making, whether it be with the food or with demanding time to exercise or going out. We're going to have to be able to be assertive about the things we need.
Yep. I love it. I think maybe that's today's takeaway. Like
Yeah.
the next step is, what do you need? And what do you need to be able to gently express for yourself? Hey, this is what I need to achieve the goals.
Yeah.
Ding.
Perfect.
We love it. All right. Well, ladies, always a good conversation. And hey, if you want to learn more about us, you're welcome to join our Real WW Talk Facebook group. Just search Real WW Talk on Facebook. And as a matter of fact, you can search Real WW Talk anywhere and you will come up with some things about us, including YouTube. We got the podcast and we've got Instagram. We're on Instagram. So,
and we're all on Connect.
And oh yeah, we're all on Connect too. Yeah. And you can find our Connect handles are posted within this video. So come find us and say hi on WW Connect.
Hey. I got to get posting there again.
Yeah. No.
That's another post. That's another day.
That's another day. All right. Have a great week.
Bye.
Bye.